What is Gandhi's theme song?
It was a fellowship theme. How did the fellowship theme go?
Anybody know the tune, the fellowship tune?
Hey, Andrew, Andrew, no. What was the fellowship theme? What? You should be humming that to yourself as you walk in here.
To the bridge of Concert.
There have been a few times in the past decades where film music has really broken through into the popular consciousness. And I think Howard Shore's work on the Middle-earth films is a very rare and very special thing.
Throughout the Middle-earth series, beginning with The Lord of the Rings and now continuing into The Hobbit, Howard Shore's score sort of hit the zeitgeist at the right time. It's emotional.
They will look for his coming from the White Tower, but he will not return.
The last of our kin.
It's dramatic. And it's got a lot of heart. And I think will continue to be some of the best known scores in cinema going forward for decades.
Setting out to create The Hobbit, we wanted to bring this world into the world that we had already established with Lord of the Rings.
The first Hobbit movie, An Unexpected Journey, covered a lot of very familiar territory with Hobbiton and the Hobbits and the Ring and Gollum and Rivendell, which all required us to reprise themes. I mean, we didn't want to write a new Rivendell theme. It was a great score, but the most exciting thing really about the second movie is that, you know, there was hardly any old themes in it. Our journey goes into uncharted new territory. And for the first time in the Hobbit trilogy, Howard was able to write a brand new score from start to finish. This is the Howard Shore score that I was certainly waiting for.
Tolkien's writing is very complex, probably the most complex fantasy world ever created. It filled up with so many ideas of places and cultures. So you needed all of these themes for clarity, for storytelling.
A very big component of Howard's score is the use of the themes to anchor you and remind you of a character and where you are in the story.
I think the score for film 2 has more new themes than we've had in a single film before, even in the original trilogy. Howard wrote 19 themes, and all of those were approved by Peter before he was scoring anything to picture.
Should we orchestrate this? Because I think it's good to go.
The way that we work with Howard is that he starts to generate new themes. If we want a new theme, a new character, you know, we're going to a new place. He generates those themes without any picture. He literally writes a 1.5 minute synth mock-up. Once that theme exists and everybody's happy with it, then it's so easy to then take that theme and apply it to the different scenes that you want to use it.
Usually I spend a few months just writing the thematic ideas. And I start with Tolkien's writings. The words, to me, always inherently have everything I need to get started.
The lost path. No other idea would come into Bilbo's tired head. He just sat, staring in front of him at the endless trees.
And here we have three really good screenwriters, so you take away a lot from the screenplay.
If this is to end in fire, then we will all burn together.
Looking at beautiful conceptual drawings of Alan Lee and John Howe is a great source of inspiration. And I like to visit the set. Seeing the actual creations of Richard Taylor and Weta Workshop. Seeing the actual designs brought to life in the studio. See the director in action.
So you've got to know better, and you have to sort of get across to here.
Peter describing an image in the green screen can be enlightening.
He spins around on you, and
This huge big body of the dragon kind of slithering its way between one wall and the other.
But having said all that, sometimes I like to just dream of it on my own. It's a little bit like Oz, you know, you don't want to take a peek behind the curtain and see how everything's being done. You want to stay in the magic of it. I like to write the themes first and then go into the scoring process, so the themes and the motifs are fully formed.
In the past with these films, what has happened is that Howard would write the music, he orchestrates the music, delivers the final scores to the players, and is up there conducting the LPO in London.
Touch it once and then let it decay.
On The Lord of the Rings, we were able to go to London from New Zealand and go to Abbey Road. You know, I should sit in on every single music recording session.
He would spend the entire scoring time in London so that he could be on the stage helping shape the performance of the music.
I just wondered if there was any way the scene could start after the shot of Gollum when we're back on Frodo again, because it goes Frodo, Gollum, Frodo.
We thought we were going to be able to go to London when we did the first Hobbit movie.
Yeah, Mr. Gandalf, can't you do something about this deluge?
But we just couldn't figure out how to leave the country for 6 weeks. The post-production in New Zealand was so intense that we just couldn't get there. I think we want to lower everything for the Goblin King's line so it really stands out.
Peter's a guide for not just music, but for everything.
Do you want one shot of the dwarves running towards us?
Any process that Peter Jackson would be away from, technical or creative decisions.
That last arc springs off a bit lightweight, that one there.
Those processes would suffer.
It would be good if it's a violent shot.
Well, the same thing happened for us because he wasn't able to come to London.
And it was a big struggle because it meant that he wasn't able to help in shaping the score in the way he had on the original trilogy.
So getting into film 2, we now knew that we're not going to get Peter to come to London. So how do we do it? How do we take the mountain to Mohammed?
So this time on the Desolation of Shmau, we brought the scoring to New Zealand. We did that in the Wellington Town Hall with the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra.
We also built a system and a team so that Howard could stay in New York, where he lives and works, and really focus on the one thing that nobody else can do, and that is compose. Breaking the tasks down so that James Sizemore and Conrad Pope would do the orchestrations.
Howard is usually composing 2 minutes of new music each day, and we develop the sounds and textures under his supervision.
It's quite a team effort, really. So to kind of work like that from me to James to Conrad, and then Conrad conducting.
And what an orchestrator can do is take a composer's shorthand and help him determine the part each instrument in the ensemble will play. This is a massive task because each bar is so contained with so much information of dynamics, how loud you play, how long you play, whether or not it's staccato, marcato, it's all these things that are just overwhelming, the amount of information. And that's one bar. And these pieces of music that Howard has written will have 400 bars in them.
This is an example of one violin part from one cue we prepared for the Hobbit film.
We don't get to see the parts ahead of time. We arrive and it's just on our music stand.
This is what we get, and then we start reading, and you know, sometimes it's a bit busier, but that's just what we do.
There's no real rehearsal. We just come in and we do our job, which is to play everything perfectly first time.
Here we go. 4 into 95. Recording.
Here lies our path through Mirkwood.
In Mirkwood, it's a forest that's kind of hallucinogenic almost. You get lost in this tangle of trees and fungus. And the music can actually get inside the heads of the characters more effectively than just about anything.
Mirkwood definitely had a clear, identifiable tune to it.
It's a very simple, straightforward line that tends to get lost in the texture, but there's this recurring idea. And then they wander off the path and they lose that theme and they lose that clarity and everything becomes jumbled and hypnotic.
That music was made to make you feel ill. To make you feel a bit woozy.
Howard has a very impressive ability to really shape the sound using some aleatoric methods in the music.
Aleatoric, in a very rough sense, boils down to there being some improvised element of the music that creates this very bizarre but beautiful texture.
We owe a great debt to the composers of the 50s, the Polish avant-garde, really, which is where it really became a more well-known technique.
Modern composers like Penderecki that really stress that type of writing.
Essentially, the players have a box with some notes in it. They can play any of those notes in any order, in any rhythm they want. And they don't have to play them all. They can pick a few, they can pick one. But the main thing is to get some randomness in it.
It's almost like a scene from Dante's Hell. You could actually hear the tormenting of the various souls, that human element that we bring to it.
A lot of the work to create the sense of what a trippy kind of experience that the dwarves are going through was obviously going to be done through sound.
Just do like various strokes or whatever you do on the waterphone, whatever it is you do to that thing.
We wanted to invoke some sound of things falling off the trees and things slipping out of your mind.
The orchestra could just come up with some, well, not sound effects, but almost like musical sound effects.
Stringed instruments being played in ways they shouldn't be played. A whole lot of different strange percussion sound, bowed cymbals.
The name for this is random stuff.
And fuse it together into what is Mirkwood.
Further on in Mirkwood is the woodland realm, which is the elvish kingdom of Thranduil.
When the woodland elves are introduced, there has to be a little bit of cohesiveness and continuity to tie them together with all the other elf cultures. We already have the Lothlorien elves, we have the Rivendell elves.
Rivendell has had its own structure, its own harmonic language. It was based around a much more formal type of system of harmony.
And then you move over to Lothlorien, which sounds slightly Arabic, if you will. But now you have this whole new elf culture, which has their own heritage behind it.
When you get to the woodland realm, things start to get a little bit more complex in terms of, are these friends, are these foes?
I offer you my help.
They're sort of both light and dark at the same time, and I think the theme actually does represent that and show that.
I do not think you would allow your son to pledge himself to a lowly sylvan elf.
Tauriel is one of the few elf characters to have her own theme.
Where other elf royalty didn't have thematic music specifically created for them, like Elrond, Galadriel. They have hints of their culture connected to them. But Tauriel has her own motifs.
Her theme sort of draws on a little figure that you often hear at the end of the theme for the Woodland Realm. So that is very similar to the same idea.
Music describes her movement and how fluid it was.
One of my favorite musical themes in these films so far is Kili and Tauriel's theme. It's absolutely beautiful.
This theme was based on the concept of duality. In the beginning, you have a duet for flute and oboe. You know, two different voices conversing.
She worries. She thinks I'm reckless.
Are you?
Because you basically have a relationship theme here that's between two cultures that don't traditionally go together.
This connection that forms between the two of them, it's doomed from the beginning, but it's no less beautiful for being doomed. One of the favourite things that I get to do working on these films is to work with Howard Shore, writing lyrics for Howard when he needs choir.
It is Merith and Gilith, the feast of starlight. All light is sacred to the Eldar, but wood elves love best the light of the stars.
When she speaks about how elves love all light, above all else they love starlight, and the notion that this young sylvan elf, whose world has probably been confined by this dark woodland, and who has never really ever ventured out into the world, has yet in a way spiritually gone beyond the confines of the world and walked, as she says,
I have walked there sometimes, beyond the forest and up into the night.
That became the theme of the song, and then we gave it to David Salo, who does all our translations.
The chorus is two different languages. You have an Elvish language, and you have Husdul, the Dwarvish language, kind of going back and forth, call and response.
This is a soprano with the London Voices, Grace, who sang that. I'd have to say one of the best sopranos I've ever heard. She did an amazing, amazing job.
And then by the time we actually hear that Tauriel and Kili theme develop when Toriel heals Keeley at the end of the film, it's so much more powerful because it's kind of had the chance to grow and mature along with those characters.
It's like a fragile thing, the way they connect. And I think Howard just perfectly captured that with the theme that he wrote.
At its heart, you're using themic material that is telling the story.
Do you think she could have loved me?
The music is really an emotional guide, and Howard's scores have been a big part of the success and the connection that the audience has with these films.